Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to another edition of Life on Board AmyJo. Thanks to everyone who's commented, and we've had a lot of comments on in the last week, so do keep them coming. We do value your feedback, etc.
And as you get to see AmyJo from the outside in the introduction to every vlog, we thought you might like to take a peek inside her and be nosy. So come along and we'll take you on a tour from the front to the back just for you. Welcome to our living room, or saloon as some boaters call it. I much prefer to call it our living room. So that's the way we are.
Okay, so the first question, and it's the most popular question that we always get asked, Chris, is it warm on board the boat?
Definitely. In the winter, we've got our lovely log burner. We use a lot of coal on it though. And in the evenings, it's about 23 to 25 degrees, which is nice and cosy and warm. And now we haven't got any heating on, but the temperature is about 21 in here, and that's without any heating on sort of last night or this morning. So no, it is not cold on a boat. So our seating arrangements in our living room, I've got what we call a settee because I like sitting with my feet either underneath me or stretched out like this. Steve likes his swivel chair, captain's chair, because he's the captain of the ship. And he's quite happy on that. Smudge the dog is either on the floor or actually normally up here. We've got a special cushion for him reserved for the dog, and he normally scuffs them all up and lays on them. I'm now in the galley, although I still refer to it as the kitchen for some reason. It's bigger than the galley or kitchen that we have in our bungalow, believe it or not. The only thing I haven't got in here is top cupboards. We didn't want top cupboards because we wanted the extra light to come through. But apart from that, I've got everything. So we have the hob, we have the oven. Got lots of storage space in here. I don't know whether Steve can see it. We have the fridge full of nice things. Then all my plates, cutlery and everything is all in there. I've got a little cupboard here, which is just my sort of Tupperware, tin foil, etc. Because everything in a kitchen has got to have a home for. Under the sink is the general cleaning and the bin, which I hope is not overflowing, although it might be. No, we're okay. Then I have my cutlery drawer and all my saucepans. This is an idea that I pinched from the kitchen in the bungalow because I found it much easier to get on with the drawers than I did a cupboard. So all my casseroles, cooking and mixing bowls are in we have. Now I have a nice goodie cupboard on this side, which is bread. At the bottom we keep all of Smudge's dog food, and obviously the fire blanket is very easily accessible for the kitchen. Now this is one of Fernwood's special cupboards. We still have the triangular one at the front, which has got all my spices and things like that. But if we pull it out, as you can see, we've then got space here, and these drawers pull out. They are rather full because I'm being good, only going shopping once a week. So that's all our food. In the fridge I have got a little freezer box, which I do use extensively because I still cook bigger meals and freeze half. So one week I cook properly and the next week we can live out the freezer, and it's a bit like cheating. Now at floor level, as you can see, but there's a surprise because Steve has made under plinth drawers. And in here, as you can see, we've got white wines in this one. This one moving up under the oven has got the baking trays and that in. So this one's got the baking trays. On the other side, move me that, we have another cupboard. And that one's got more wine in. So our wine cellar is actually in the plinths of the kitchen, not underneath the floor. Moving backwards, I'm now going into the day room, dining room, study or bedroom. So this room has got 4 different uses, and we use all of them at separate times. At the moment it's just set up as a day room, but to set it up as a study or the dining room, we've got a nice little fold away table that is stored around the corner here, and we just literally take the table out and we can put it up. So there's our little table. The computer and the printer are up on this side. If Steve comes through, he can then get to see where they're stored. And then the other side, we've obviously got our placemats, and we've got all our wine glasses in the cupboard above, which I don't know whether we can get to.
Also in the day room we have these side doors, and we have internal wooden doors with glazed units in, so that we can have the side doors open and keep the cold out and the warmth inside the boat. And what you will have noticed when on the trailer at the beginning of the video, as I walked down the side of AmyJo, that you couldn't actually see inside the boat when these side doors, these inner doors are shut. And the reason for that is because they have this one-way film on, which gives a mirror finish. You can actually see me videoing here, and it makes it impossible to see inside the boat. So when they're closed like this, we do get a bit more privacy, which we do value. In the past we have actually had a lady stick her head right inside the boat here and say, "Oh, looks good in here," and we don't appreciate that. So if you're walking past the boat and you can't see in, it's because we don't want you to. So the next question we quite often get asked is, do you have a bath on board? We don't actually have a bath. What we have is this nice shower. We decided we'd go for a walk-in bathroom because it gives just the two of us, it gives you much more room, which you'll see in a minute. But I'm going to get Chris to demonstrate how our shower works. You'll notice we haven't got shower screens like most people have. We have a nice big pull-out shower screen, so that gives you an awful lot of shower space. There's a drain in the floor just down there, and the shower head up here. And that shower head actually is almost like a power shower. It is brilliant. It gives us a very good shower. And there you can see the reflection now. And it's adjustable for Chris, because being vertically challenged, she can set the thing as she needs it. So coming into the bathroom, we have a pump out loo. This one's a macerator toilet. And round in this corner here, we have our storage space for the cupboards underneath there and shelving, and as you can see, here's the basin, and there's the lovely Chrissy being reflected in a mirror there. So, but it does have one other little secret in this bathroom that a lot of people wouldn't know was here, and that's an undergunnel cupboard where we keep all our medicines and good stuff like that. So we've got one this side of the toilet, and we've got a smaller one that side of the toilet. And that's it really for the bathroom. Obviously we've got frosted windows. Our lighting up the top here, it runs on a plinth, and we can increase the lighting still more. We didn't put it on for the video because up here in the ceiling we have an extractor fan which also doubles as a light, and as you can hear it's quite noisy, so we didn't want to include that in the video. So from the bathroom you can see that the day room that we were just in and the next room, our bedroom, it puts the bathroom fair and square in the middle of the 2 bedrooms, which means people don't have to disturb each other in the night if we have guests on board. So let's take you into the bedroom. This is where Smudge sometimes sleeps at night, but not very often. And Chris is not like most women. She doesn't have a wardrobe full of shoes. She just has that box full, and that's it. You can see here, this is one of our radiators on the wall. We have radiators in each of the rooms to keep us nice and warm, and that's powered by a diesel heater which is located back in the engine room. And here's our nice 4'6" cross bed. Now there are arguments for cross beds and arguments against. Most people like a bed that runs up and down the length of the boat. We plumped for a cross bed in the case of this one, which is a 4'6", purely because standing where Chris is behind her, you can see there is a wardrobe behind her, And if I come around this side of the room, you can see that Chris has got a nice double wardrobe there. The frosted glass door there is one half of the wardrobe, but the section at the side there with the little black air vent is also part of the wardrobe. So Chris has a nice double wardrobe that she can fill up, and below that are 3 chest of drawers. Big deep chest of drawers go right to the back of the wardrobe. The other reason we went for the cross bed, of course, is because, as you can see from here, we have a little bedside cabinet, and that is quite handy for various reasons. Smudge is getting in on the act there because he loves being on the bed. But our little bed looks a bit short at the moment, so like most cross beds, ours actually comes up into a full length double, and Chris is now going to demonstrate that with a flick of a switch,
and it growls at
it growls at you as it's doing it, but it's actually electronic. It's got 2 hydraulic rams in the bottom and underneath the bed, and as we flick a switch, the bed just comes up and comes up to a full height bed. And flicking the switch the other way, it actually goes back down again. So I have nightmares sometimes if our batteries go flat. but fortunately they never have yet.
That's back down.
And there we go, back down again. So we also have storage in top boxes up here. They're quite small, but they're handy for putting things that we keep in boxes. Things like our grundies and things like that. We've got some hats and gloves in there and all that sort of thing. And then behind Chris we have my wardrobe, which is a full length wardrobe, believe it or not. It's even though it's got the chest of drawers below here, like Chris has, it's got a top section, and I can actually put my hand right down inside here, and there's another section down the bottom there. It's got 2 hanging rails in it. Yeah, and you probably noticed that's where I keep my guitar, by the way. So you may be wondering what the white disc was that was laying on the dressing table there. This is actually our secondary glazing units from when we had single glazed portholes. But today we've had the new portholes fitted, which are Colden windows double glazed portholes. And what we use our old secondary glazing for are privacy screens. So basically all we do now is we slip that into the window like that, and then that shuts out everybody and gives us the privacy at night. And that's the bedroom. And then finally we come to the back end of AmyJo, which is the engine room, as we would like to call it. We have our vacuum cleaners stored on there, and they're cordless hoovers, so they're on charge. One's a Dyson, and the other one is a Force. We acquired that from Mum and Dad. So now we also have what I like to call the glory hole. This is our tiniest room on the boat. It's actually got a porta potty in it, and it's what I use at night. Save disturbing Chris. So not a lot in here. It also serves as a cloakroom where we keep all our winter coats, rain macs and stuff like that. So then from here we have these steps leading up into the engine room here, and then up to the back doors. Now the back doors are unusual because we come from a sailing background. We used to sail enterprise sailing dinghies. So when Alan Russell was doing the artwork, I asked him, instead of doing roses and castles for us, if he could do us 2 pictures on the doors of our sailing boat. So this is actually our enterprise sailing dinghy. He's even managed to get the sail number on the boat there, and that's actually Chris sitting in there as crew. And we've got one which is in day, and like you do on your roses and castles, we've also got one at sunset. Here you can see our more throttle control, and on this side is our engine control. We have a Beta engine, Beta 50, which I'll show you in a minute, and we have our storage space where we keep all our Pearsons and rudder pin, tiller pins, etc, etc. Then underneath I have a large workbox which contains all my power tools. It's an 8-in-1 power tool kit, which I bought long before we had the boat, and that's that bit. The electric, for all the electrics on AmyJo, we've got 2 cupboards here. The first one here is what we call our 240 volt cupboard. In here we have our Victron 3 kilowatt inverter, which is currently on, and below that we have our domestic 240 volt consumer unit. When we had AmyJo built, we had 2 electric hookup points put on the boat, one at the stern and one at the bow, and this is a 3-way switch down here, which we can switch depending on whether we're taking power on the bow hookup or the stern hookup. And then when we're on electrics, we have this timer here which powers our 1 kilowatt immersion heater in the hot water tank. The next cupboard along is what I call my 12 volt cabinet. This is where all the main isolating switches are for the batteries. Along here we have our little diesel heater control panel, we have a battery monitor, and this piece of kit is a godsend for us. It's what we use when Chris needs to use the washing machine or do the ironing. It's called a travel pack, and basically it's a 3.5 kilowatt alternator on the engine, which you'll notice had 3 of them. When we run the engine and put this on, we have a little unit that converts the power from the batteries and engine into 240 volt, and it tricks the inverter into thinking we're hooked up onto the mains. The blue generator light here turns on, and the inverter then switches into mains mode, which gives us enough power to run the washing machine. Above that we have our 3 utility gauges, so fuel, waste, and this is now a defunct water gauge because we've been having problems with it. It wasn't very accurate, so we've now got a nice new one down at the front of the boat in the saloon. And the square box next to it, this is our battery monitoring system. I don't know if you can see there, but this is what we're doing today. The red box is where the mains comes in, the blue box at the top is inverter, and the green box tells me what we're doing output to the AC sockets. The bottom left blue one is actually our batteries, and as you can see they're at 94% at the moment. And the yellow box in the bottom right hand corner is our 4 solar panels on the roof, which you saw in the trailer. And as you can see, we're currently putting out 300 watts of solar power, so that's putting a nice charge into the batteries and topping them up. As for batteries, we do have 6 Rolls AGM batteries, each are 115 amp hours a piece, giving us a total of 330 amp hours of power. And if you do the maths, that's only half of what it should be, because AmyJo is actually a 24 volt system. Most boats are 12 volt systems, ours is a 24 volt, so everything is halved. This is our main switch panel. This is where we turn everything on, and just about everything works here. The red blotches is actually red insulating tape. This is for Chris's benefits, because if we ever leave the boat and I'm not aboard, the red ones are the ones that we turn on. We don't turn off. Everything else gets switched off except those with the little red patches. So it's a guide. It's just a guide for Chris. I mentioned just now that we have a Beta 50 engine, and there it is there, snuggled away down underneath what doubles as a footstep to get out of the boat. But she's down there. She has a hospital silencer which you can't see very well, but it's tucked away in the corner there, that striped thing. Keeps the engine really quiet outside the boat, but it can be a little bit noisy in the boat, so I'm not going to start it up for you. But it pushes AmyJo along quite nicely, and makes her extremely manoeuvrable. It's a good, reliable engine. It's coming up for 6 years now, and it's given us sterling service. Right at the back of the boat, there's the steering arm, what we call the swan neck, and we have 2 seats at the back there for Chris to sit on and I to sit on. We have what we call a pram hood at the back of the boat. This is just a canvas cover, and it's what we affectionately call our observation lounge, because we can watch the world go by in here, and it can be chucking it down a rain and stay nice and dry. And there's the 4 solar panels I was telling you about earlier. We're going to do another video on these to explain how they work, but essentially each one of these panels is 165 watt, giving us a total of 660 watts of solar power. And on a hot sunny day, they can charge the batteries up by 11 o'clock. Now it's time for our regular slot for our non-boating viewers, where we explain the basics. Previously we looked at bows and sterns, so this time we'll look at the bit in the middle, the cabin. Like bows and sterns, cabins come in all shapes and sizes. Working boats move cargo, so most of the boat was given over to this, with tarpaulin covers to cover it to keep it dry. Some working boats and modern replicas still look like the originals, but the fixed living space now takes over the cargo hold. The tarpaulin covers, or tarps as they're called, are now just for show. Some boats have a normal cabin but have just a short cargo space at the front, like this one. Originally designed as a tug-to-pull cargo barges, this style now usually has a bedroom under the front deck, and many are now pleasure boats. This Darkline 42 has a sliding roof section that slides back for when the weather is fine, a bit like a Broads cruiser. Instead of steering the boat at the stern, this boat has its steering in the middle of the boat, cutting the cabin in half. Inspection launches like this one were used by the canal owners to inspect their canals. Adapted for the disabled, this boat has a large open front deck with ramps to allow wheelchair access onto the boat. Access down into the cabin is via lifts for the wheelchairs. This enables disabled people to enjoy the canals like anyone else. And finally, the most typical cabin runs the full length of the boat like AmyJo, and is the most common type seen on the canals today. With the lockdown several weeks in and not much cruising going on, we thought we'd finish with some video we took a few weeks back when we had to move to use the services at Tattenhall Marina, 2 hours cruise each way. I'll just let you enjoy the view as we cruise along, and I won't say too much. Enjoy. That's not heavy. That's it. Morning. Well, that's it for this time round, and I hope you enjoyed it. Did you like our home? It's not everyone's taste, and it's certainly not a traditional narrowboat in the old historic sense of the word, but the decor suits us fine and the layout is absolutely fantastic for us. We're very happy living on AmyJo.
So if you did enjoy it, please click on the thumbs up sign and let us know. We love to know what our viewers would think of us.
Yep, and if you want to follow us in future, don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below, down here, and
and then click on the bell icon and you'll be notified each time we post so that you can stay in touch with us.
So that's it for this time round. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you again on the next edition of Life on Board AmyJo.
Bye. Bye.